power is not simply about strength or authority. It is about shaping the relationships around you in such a way that you remain the center of gravity. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. The more others rely on you for their happiness, their advancement, or their survival, the more freedom you gain. Independence is an illusion in power dynamics. People will always need something: guidance, approval, resources, or connections. If you make yourself the only source from which they can get it, you hold the keys to their future. Consider the kings of old. Their courtiers competed for attention and favor because only the king could open the doors to wealth and influence. If you give too much freedom, people wander away. If you make yourself indispensable, they return again and again. Your task is not to enslave openly, but to weave invisible threads of dependency so that even the proudest opponent finds himself unable to move without you. Never teach people everything you know. Keep the crucial piece for yourself. The surgeon who knows the rare technique, the strategist with insight no one else can replicate, the leader with the network only he can access, these are the ones who remain irreplaceable. To surrender your uniqueness is to surrender power. Guard your position by being the well everyone drinks from, the resource no one can bypass. That is the secret of Law 11. Law 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. In a world full of deceit, a single act of honesty shines like the sun breaking through clouds. People lower their guard when they see apparent sincerity. But honesty must never be constant, it must be a tool. A sudden gift, a confession, a moment of openness, these are weapons, not virtues. A con artist wins trust with a small sacrifice of truth, only to set the stage for a greater deception. A general spares an enemy, and in return secures loyalty that would have cost years to earn. The trick is to surprise. If you are always honest, your honesty becomes meaningless. If you are always generous, people expect it and grow bold. Instead, strike with precision, one honest word among 100 manipulations, one gift at the moment doubt rises, and you will own hearts and minds. Remember, consistency breeds familiarity, and familiarity kills influence. Selective honesty is the scalpel that cuts through suspicion. Selective generosity is the bait that makes the trap irresistible. Law 13, when asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. Human beings may speak of loyalty, morality, or kindness, but in truth, most act from the core of their desires. They ask, "What's in it for me?" The wise power player never begs or pleads. He frames his request so that fulfilling it benefits the other person. Gratitude is fleeting, compassion unreliable, but self-interest endures. If you want money, show how the lender profits. If you want alliance, show how the ally gains strength. Caesar pardoned Brutus not out of generosity, but because he needed Brutus's influence among senators. The moment Brutus ceased to be useful, Caesar's protection weakened. When you seek aid, cloak it in opportunity. Do not remind others of what you have done for them, that breeds resentment. Instead, highlight what they will gain by helping you. In this way, even your rivals become willing partners. Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy. Trust is the most fragile of currencies, and yet the easiest to counterfeit. By appearing as a companion, you invite confidences. By listening more than you speak, you gather intelligence. The closer you are, the more open people become. Napoleon's ministers, his lovers, even his servants spied on one another, feeding him constant knowledge. He did not conquer by force alone, but by knowing what others feared, desired, and plotted. Information is the raw material of power. The more you know about others, the less they can know about you. Disguise your intent behind warmth and loyalty. Offer sympathy, ask questions, appear harmless. The fool will share his secrets gladly, believing you a friend. Meanwhile, you grow stronger. Do not, however, reveal your own hand. Power flows to the hidden observer, not the exposed speaker. A friend can betray. A spy can rule. Heart emoji, fire emoji. Law 15, crush your enemy totally. Mercy is a weakness when dealing with those who threaten your survival. To leave an enemy standing is to invite revenge. History is littered with rulers who half destroyed their foes, only to be undone later. Rome spared Carthage once, and paid dearly when Carthage rose again. When you strike, strike with such force that no recovery is possible. A snake left with breath will bite again. Do not confuse ruthlessness with cruelty. It is not cruelty to end conflict decisively. It is cruelty to prolong struggle, to let wounds fester, to allow future generations to bleed because you feared finality. Half measures waste resources, invite disrespect, and breed enemies stronger than before. The total annihilation of opposition, whether in reputation, politics, or warfare, ensures peace for you and fear for others. In power, mercy is often the mask of cowardice. True strategy leaves nothing to chance. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. Presence breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds contempt. The constant availability of a person or resource diminishes its value. Scarcity creates desire. Kings who appeared rarely were worshipped as divine. Lovers who withdraw at the right moment ignite passion stronger than constant presence could ever sustain. Distance and silence sharpen attention. To retreat is not to lose, but to create longing. Absence must be timed, however. Withdraw too long, and you are forgotten. Withdraw at the peak of your influence, and you multiply it. The sun disappears at night and is greeted with awe each dawn. If it burned without pause, men would curse its heat. Master the rhythm of approach and withdrawal. Let people hunger for your return. In your absence, they will magnify your importance, and when you return, they will bow deeper. Law 17, keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. The known is safe, the unknown is frightening. A leader who is always predictable loses power because others adjust and adapt. But when your actions defy expectation, when people cannot calculate your next move, they tread lightly, uncertain of your boundaries. The mafia don who smiles one day and punishes the next, the ruler who shifts policies without warning, the artist whose style changes with each work, such figures inspire both fascination and fear. Predictability is a cage others can trap you in. Break patterns. Act when least expected. Let your silence speak louder than your words. When people cannot place you, they respect you more. Insecurity in others is your security. Mystery is power. Law 18, do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. A fortress seems safe, but it is a prison. Walls cut you off from knowledge, from allies, from the pulse of events. A ruler who hides behind stone grows blind. Enemies outside plot freely while you stagnate within. Real security comes from presence, from mingling, from being part of the flow. The most successful kings and generals moved among their people, learning, influencing, and commanding directly. The fortress signals fear, and fear invites attack. True protection lies in networks, in mobility, in adaptability. The bird that stays in the nest becomes prey. The bird that flies cannot be caught. Do not trap yourself in a false sense of safety. Engage, interact, and know that vulnerability seen is often strength displayed. Law 19, know who you're dealing with. Not all people are alike. Some are wolves, some are foxes, some are sheep. To treat them the same is folly. One enemy can be bought, another must be crushed, another distracted. If you misread their nature, you invite disaster. A proud man will not forgive insult. A fearful man will betray you at the first sign of risk. A greedy man can be tempted. A loyal man can be broken if his master falls. Study character as you study terrain in battle. Tailor your moves accordingly. Alexander the Great knew that each culture required a different approach. What conquered Persians would not conquer Greeks. To ignore individuality is to strike blindly. Respect the differences, and use them. Law 20, do not commit to anyone. To declare allegiance is to surrender freedom. The power player moves between factions, never tied too tightly, always available yet never owned. Kings courted by rival nobles gain more power by refusing commitment. Lovers who remain elusive are pursued more desperately. The more you tie yourself to one camp, the more enemies you inherit. Independence is leverage. By holding back, by seeming interested but never devoted, you make others compete for your attention. Let them woo you, bribe you, flatter you. The moment you choose sides, you reduce your value. Your allegiance should be to yourself and your destiny, never to the transient needs of others. Float above divisions, untouched by their demands, and all will seek your favor.